Hello, welcome back to my garden. Today, I'm finally going to be talking about the rose garden redesign plan. For those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you know I've had well, I love my rose garden, but so do the deer. Had ideas of what I was going to do with the rose garden when I first started gardening down here in eastern North Carolina. But over time, well, certain realizations came to me. I'm not that smart, I'm a little slow, and it takes me sometimes years to figure these things out. But here we are in 2026, and I've made the determination that this is the year that I'm going to start redesigning the rose garden, and the plan that I'm going to go with is the plan that's going to carry me into the future. And I put a lot of thought into this, and I've done quite a bit of homework. I've checked out some YouTube videos. I've bought a bunch of books on garden design and rose garden design, and I've looked at all the myriad of design options that are out there. There's many different ways I could have designed this garden, but let me take a giant step back 5 years to when I first started building this rose garden, and I didn't do any homework. No homework whatsoever. Seen a couple pictures on the internet, thought I had an idea, thought I had a plan. I had none, and I was sort of winging it more than any other garden design decision I've ever made. And I discovered a few years back that one of the decisions that I made was very bad. Not that it was harmful to the garden itself, but well, when you come into a rose garden, one of the things you want to do is smell the roses. And I put my roses all the way at the back of the bed. Now these beds are 12 feet deep. As you can see, I have a hedge right here. That's going to stay. None of that is changing. The depth of the bed is going to stay the same, 12 feet deep, except for in two places. Before you get into those changes that are coming, let me show you the picture that has recently inspired me and has led me to the decisions I'm going to make going forward. And that's this. That looks absolutely incredible. It looks lovely. You see there's rose bushes there, and there's a bunch of other perennial plants as well mixed in. I'm going to do something similar in this garden. So I thought, why not eliminate these low-lying hedges, get rid of that formal idea, and let's just go with something a little more informal. All the plants that are going to be planted along with the roses that I'm going to try to use to complement the roses will be perennials. Now, I know I'm a little bit all over the place with my talking, and I do apologize for that, but I'm trying to get as many thoughts and ideas out as quick as possible. Hopefully, over the next couple of weeks, I will have a drawn plan for the layout of the rose garden. I was trying to do that for this video, but I'm not that good, and I'm still learning the whole design drawing thing, and I'm trying to figure a couple other things out. But hopefully you guys can follow along, and as I said, in the next few weeks, hopefully I have that design drawing done, and I will post that up on my website, and I'll let you guys know when that's there. But in the meantime, there's still a lot of work to be done here in the rose garden. The first thing that's going to be happening is the rose bushes themselves will be moving. I put them in the back. So if you want to smell the roses, you have to walk into the bed and then walk around plants, and it's not convenient, it's not a good idea. So the rose bushes are going to move from the back of the bed here towards the front. This will be happening either this week or next week. When I do that, I'll bring you guys along for that. Basically, we're just going to cut these bushes back hard. We're going to dig holes. We're going to dig them up from their holes. We're going to move them over. There are some bushes that I have in here, such as this sprinter boxwood, which has been crushed by the snow and ice. This bush right here right now is going to want to probably get a hard cut back just because it's gotten deformed and crushed by the ice, but that's going to stay. Certain elements will not move. There's some plants in here, for instance, there's this Canophia, which looks terrible right now, but this will be coming out because I don't want Canophias in here. I'm going to keep the Canophias out in the flower garden because the deer don't eat them. But I think it'd be nice just to have some plants in the flower garden that aren't in the rose garden, and some plants in the rose garden that can't go out in the flower garden because the deer will eat them. And that's going to be another advantage to closing off the rose garden. Again, I mentioned in prior videos the sort of fishing line string fence in the front and then an actual gate in the middle. When we do all of that, I'll bring again you guys along for all of that. But the Canophia will come out. Daylilies will come in here and have some daylilies. They're in the vegetable garden safely behind a fence, so the deer can't eat them. Maybe a bunch of agapanthus, I'm not sure yet. The deer really don't like them, but they still nibble on them or eat them, and it's always a problem. So I'm thinking maybe as this space matures and develops, I may bring the agapanthus in here. Unsure of that one yet. So stay tuned for that. Right over here is my Generous Gardener climbing rose. It's a bit of a mess. It was growing last year, but the deer would always come in and take all the leaves off from here down and the flowers, and And that's why this is going to get moved. Well, it's one of the reasons why this is going to get moved. In the next week or two, I'm probably going to come in here, I'm going to cut all of this out, and I'm going to cut the climbing rose down to the ground, dig it up, and move it to the front of the potting shed, and there going to replant it and let it grow up the front side of the potting shed. And again, you guys will come along for all that. This metal frame here, I don't want to tear out. I'm thinking to add height to this space, I'm going to grow a clematis up here. I haven't figured out which clematis. It has going to have to be something that grows to 10 feet or more. But once I figure out what clematis and vine I'm going to grow up here, and then it'll add some incredible height and it'll be wonderful. Behind me here, the hedge will continue. I already have some golden ticket privets, much as I do over on the side. They grow relatively fast, so I'm hoping in the next 2 to 3 years, they really grow and they'll hide the fishing wire that I plan on putting in the front. I want the fence to be invisible. I just want to see a hedge. So that's why I'm thinking the fishing wire now, and then the hedge will grow up, and I can even leave the fishing wire in place. And if the deer try to walk through the hedge, they'll hit that fishing wire and hopefully back out and back away. The beds themselves will be 12 feet deep, except in 2 locations. One, here in the corner. I'm gonna take the edging and I'm gonna curve it. This will do 2 things. It'll soften the look to go along with the plantings, and it'll also be easier when I'm mowing. Because right now when I come and I mow with my ride-on mower, there's a whole corner here that doesn't get mowed. And then I have to come back with a string trimmer and I have to cut all of this grass out here in the corner. If I take the edging and make a curve to go in line with the mower, then all I have to do is just come and edge along the metal edging as I normally would, and not have to worry about almost 2 feet of corner that I have to cut out. And when I make this curve as well, that's going to create a new planting space now, because the bed is getting deeper. There'll be much more planting space for me to put a new rose. Let me show you the other major change that's going to be happening here in the rose garden. So you guys are standing in the vegetable garden right now, looking through the gate here into the rose garden, and this gate here will eventually go into the shade garden. And now I want you guys to imagine a pathway going from this gate all the way down to you guys, and that path is going to be the front border of this bed. Right now, as you can see, I have grass going over into this section. Right here, where you see all this black weed fabric, that would be the original bed space. When we're closer to the potting shed, it's roughly 10 feet deep, maybe a little long, maybe a little deeper. But if we come all the way down to this corner here, it's 3 feet. And that's just a little weird and awkward. So here's my thinking going forward with the new plan. All along the back, we're gonna do hornbeam. I'm gonna grow a hornbeam hedge. And in front of that, I'm thinking about right now either a sycamore and or like a maple right about here. Big specimen tree. Also over in this space will be hibiscus. I already have one here, which I'm going to show you in a minute, although there's not much to see. It's just some stems sticking out of the ground. But I do have 2 others which I rescued from the front lawn that the deer would constantly eat, and plant them here in this space. So this is the general thought. Trees, shrubs, different sizes that'll fill this back space. In my redesign, I'm going to take up all of this space right here now, and I'm going to eventually make all of this bed space. By making it bed space, it's less grass to mow, and I can plant more roses. The front of the bed will be here, and you guys can see it's a lot of space. One of my other thoughts, and I had this with the old design, and I'm going to keep it with the new design, I'm going to have stepping stones that are come back to over here. Now right here, amongst all the weeds and the grass, believe it or not, is a circular patio that I laid out last year, I believe it was, or the year before. Basically, I took weed cloth, put it down on the ground, put some edging pieces in place, and this space will definitely get cleaned up. I will get rid of the fencing material and some of the other garbage that you see here, but this space will get cleaned up, and there'll be a little patio here, a little seating area. So then you'll be sitting amongst the planting. You guys are gonna have to use your imagination here. I could be sitting here with a cold drink, looking at all the plantings and all the roses, watching all the bees fly around, and just enjoy the garden. That's the long-term plan. But thankfully I've come to my senses, and I've thought about the plantings more, and I've thought about the design and the layout of the garden more. And some of this stuff was already there with the old plan. And this plan will definitely, probably, almost assuredly change a little bit here and there overall over the next few years, especially as I open up new bed spaces, because eventually all this blackweed fabric is going to go away. All this stuff is going to get cleaned out. Plantings will go in here. There'll be roses, there'll be hedges, there'll be trees, there'll be the hollyhocks that I have. I mentioned I have 2 other hollyhocks. Well, beautiful flowering shrubs right there at the edge of this little patio space. Again, there'll be other rose bushes along the front. There'll be other flowering shrubs and or trees all filled in here. So this is the plan. Moving the rose bushes in the next couple of weeks towards the front of the beds. The front of the rose garden will be closed off with, again, the fishing wire and the gate that I'm going to build probably in the next few months. And to give you an idea of some of the perennials that I'm thinking about planting in this space right now, there'll be agastaches, salvias. I'm gonna try to grow hollyhocks. Once I do that drawing of the rose garden plan, I'm hoping you guys will have a better understanding of what I've been babbling about today. With an actual thought out plan, which I never had before, I feel more optimistic and hopeful for the rose garden going forward in the years to come. If you're still with me, thank you very much. I can't believe you guys are still with me, but if you are, thank you very much. A few things I want to mention is if you haven't been over to the community posts page, head on over there. I try to post up quiz, behind the scenes stuff, and I've now opened it up to you guys. So if you click on the community button itself, you can leave pictures of your gardens. You could ask questions to other members, because everybody who's a subscriber can check out the community section and leave comments and post pictures. So feel free to check that out. Last week I did some quizzes on figs that hopefully stumped some of you. This week I put another poll up today and I asked you guys what you'd like the next topic to be, because that seemed to really work well with the last one. You guys chose fruits. So this week there's 4 new subjects. Pick one, and then I will try to find some quiz head scratchers for you guys. As always, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. This week, follow along with whatever shenanigans I've got going on, whether it be seed sowing, which I have to start on my 8 to 10 week seeds this week. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, of course, they'll be digging up the roses because spring is coming. I know we're still in March. I know some of you are still covered in snow, but here in Eastern North Carolina, things start really heating up in March. We may be done with our last frost mid-March, or it may be mid-April. We'll have to see what Mother Nature does. With all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.